Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Matters podcast hosted by Jumpstart. I always say this, but I'm really excited for this conversation that's about to happen. Today, we have Andrea with us, and I'm not going to share too much about what she does, but not only she's a really good friend of mine, but generally just an all-around awesome person, always looking to help and solve a problem. And yeah, I'm so excited to jump into our conversation today, Andrea. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and just excited about what Jumpstart is doing.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, let's jump in. Let's not keep our listeners waiting. Don't you want to tell us a little bit about who you are? What do you find yourself doing? What spaces are you in?
Of course. So I am an attorney from Cape Town. I've been practicing law now for about 4 years after completing my articles. I love being in nature, love Cape Town, you know this quite well.
Yeah.
Love eating, trying to cook, still learning. Spending time with my family and just looking at problems and seeing how we can help and have a good impact.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing. So, Andrew, you find yourself in the legal space, but as a legal consultant, right?
Yes.
So, as a legal consultant, who do you find yourself partnering with, and in partnering with them, like, why did you choose that? That particular client type, or even the particular person or practice to partner with.
So I've specialized in estate and trust administration, which is a niche area of law involving, as I've said, estates, deceased estates, and then trust administration. And after working full-time, an opportunity arose for me to partner with another law firm who needed someone to handle their estate and trust work. They are a relatively new law firm called Goliath & Co., and I'm sure you'll be hearing from Erin soon, the founder of Goliath & Co.
I hope so.
Definitely. And basically when she chatted to me and said, look, I need someone to handle my estates. Would you be willing to consult? I saw an opportunity and I took it. We have been very fortunate that we've secured quite a few clients, including some financial advisory companies where they have a large client base and they need wills done, estates administered, and of course trusts sorted out and legal advice given on the trusts. So that's our main client base at the moment. And then thankfully, we've also had a good influx of friends and family bringing us business. So you can never underestimate your network and what they can offer you. So it's basically we've been trying to secure our financial advisory groups and secure our family and friend client base.
Nice. I while you were sharing, I liked what you were saying about an opportunity arose for me. I think sometimes. The things that kind of change our lives or steer us into a new direction is really just from an opportunity that arises. So can you speak into that? How did the opportunity come about? Had you sort of had your what do you call it, like your headlights on, looking for these opportunities? Were you kind of just hanging back, waiting for something to come? Like, what did that space between not having the opportunity and having the opportunity look like for you?
Sure. So I was and still am working full-time at the moment, in addition to the consultancy. And I had been considering consulting for a while because I knew that there was a skill gap, or not skill gap, rather there was a space in the market for the services that I offer. So I had planned to consult in any event. And then Erin had approached me just randomly because she actually met with yourself and Calvin, she said, a few months prior, and you guys had mentioned me, and when she thought of an attorney, my name popped up and popped into her head. So I had been going that route anyway, but it was literally just an opportunity that was presented to me by her. I think I would have gotten there eventually, but I would have definitely taken a little bit longer to get myself on my feet.
Yeah. I absolutely love how like so many different worlds can cross just through relationships and being connected to a different groups of people who you actually have no business being connected to. But out of that, your opportunities really do arise. But speaking into your sort of with your consulting hat on, as a legal consultant, how are you adding value? How do you add value to the either the legal practices you partner with and then eventually the end clients?
Sure. So with the legal and financial groups that we partner with, we aim to deliver excellent service, efficient service, which definitely sometimes takes a little bit of time from law firms because things are so antiquated and there's so many channels that you have to go through in a normal law firm. You'll go through the candidate, the associate, the partner, the accounts department. So by cutting out all of those things and handling it ourselves, we're able to deliver faster service, which has been excellent. And we also just add value by presenting our expertise at not a rate that's not competitive. we're not breaking any competition law rules, guys.
Only you would know if you are.
I promise. But we are able to offer more affordable services, which has been excellent because everybody's entitled to good legal work and good legal advice. So not everybody can afford the ridiculous rates that some firms charge. So we've definitely been able to offer competitive prices, make things affordable for people, and then ensure that we deliver excellent, quick, efficient service. And that's how we've been adding value.
So how did you arrive at those... maybe like your unique selling points, which is where you're saying like quick, efficient service, and affordable and an excellent service. Like I would say those are very unique selling points and kind of the things that you want to position on. How did you arrive at that? Those are the kind of the things that you want to, you want to sell yourself
Sure.
with.
So part of my reason for getting into law in the first place was that I genuinely just want to help people. And I've been very fortunate to work at really good law firms, but unfortunately, because we are good firms, the pricing was often out of the bracket of someone who needed assistance but could not afford it. And then obviously with legal aid, if you don't qualify with the means test, which means you need to earn below a certain bracket in order to receive their assistance, you can't actually get their assistance. So there's this gap in the middle where there's people who need assistance, don't qualify for legal aid because they earn too much money, can't afford actual legal services because it's just far too expensive. I mean, 2,000 Rand an hour. 3 hours of work and you end up racking up a huge bill. So I've always been quite passionate about providing affordable legal services, and I just needed a platform to do that. And when you do work for someone else, obviously you stick to their rates, you respect your company, you charge what needs to be charged, and you bring your money in. It is a business after all. But I've always wanted to find a space that I can just help people out a little bit with the skills I've been blessed enough to develop.
That's awesome. I love it. There's always space to bring our our passion and what we actually want to see happen in the world. And I love that you're taking steps towards seeing that happen. And you've identified a problem. In marketing, there's a term called the missing middle, which is that gap. And it's that gap where you are too rich to qualify for grants and aid, but you are also not making enough to actually get the service yourself. And that's really such like a missing market where there's problems to be solved. And so I love that you're taking with bringing your expertise and your skill set to address those problems in the missing middle. And I think that's really something. If we just opened our eyes and we looked at what was around us, we'd find our own versions of the missing middle and the gaps. And I think just by the way you live and wanting to solve problems around you, I think you really do that. And
Thank you.
I'm just excited to see, how many other legal problems will be solved. And for president.
Thank you, Deb.
One last thing on consulting. What has surprised you just most about the nature of consulting?
Oh my gosh, how quick things move. Things move really quickly, guys. It's interesting because the business has exploded a lot faster than I thought it would, which is incredible. I'm so grateful for it. But cheapers, if you're trying to manage things and keep your full-time job, make sure you work well and deliver excellent service, and then still have time to consult and quote and price people and prepare their work, it has been surprising. And it's definitely something I'm still adjusting to because I feel like my head is spinning maybe like 24/7. But it's an interesting journey. No, I could definitely agree with how quick things move. And I think especially when you tend to be a one person show, well, you guys are kind of a 2-person show. But when you are the accounts department and you are also the skill provider and you also the salesperson and you also your own marketing person, the hats that you wear tend to accumulate over time. And as much as you're trying to grow the business, the clients that are coming in, you also need to keep the current clients that you're servicing happy. Exactly.
Well, not only happy, you need to be providing them with an excellent service. How are you navigating that tension between bringing some new people in, but also having to navigate or just still provide that excellent service?
So I've been really fortunate that the company I'm consulting for is a well-established law firm. I know Erin's worked incredibly hard and she's built something amazing. So it's so exciting to work with a company where things are established. The first thing she did was send me my letterhead. And I just got so excited because I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. It's amazing. And I definitely think it's about learning to balance. I am someone who gets so overly excited and throws myself in 110% without thinking of consequences or time. So I've had to learn to just slow down, look at what I actually can do capacity-wise, and then say, you know what? From 9 to 5, I'm here. This is my job. I will give it my full attention. After hours, I need to do X, Y, and Z and make sure that I take on only things that I can really devote my time to make sure it's done properly and efficiently. So I definitely think in balancing all those hats, it's about looking at your own capacity honestly, evaluating what you have space for, and then working from there. Also asking for help because that's incredibly important. We don't know everything. Of course we don't. And there are people with better skill sets than us in certain areas. For example, you in marketing. I know if I need marketing help, I can literally just say, hey, Tam, hey, Jumpstart, please can you guys assist me? So asking for help has been a big learning curve for me and something that has been invaluable. And then I think also learning how to rest, which I didn't think would be as important as it actually is. But ensuring that on my off time I am off, I've shut down so that when I'm ready to work, I can give it 110%.
That's awesome. No, I think learning to say no in our really like hyper hustle culture is a learning curve, and something that just aids us knowing when to say, when we say yes, we can fully say yes and fully commit. But as you know, this podcast is aimed at helping entrepreneurs take their next steps, and so kind of speaking into legal education, what have you seen as like an overarching theme is lacking in terms of legal education amongst entrepreneurs?
So I think firstly, knowing exactly what your powers are as a director in your company. When you've registered your company, for example, if you log on to the company's website, SIPSI, which I'm sure at some point Jumpstart will do a tutorial or something on. There's so many things that you can do through SIPSI, and there's so many powers you have as a director. There's funding that you can apply for. There's legal steps that you can take to protect yourself and your employees, grants that you can apply for and things like that. So I think just general education about what you can actually do as a director of a company is lacking, and that's because it's not easy to find that. You would need to consult with an attorney, pay your $2,000 an hour, which is not accessible for some entrepreneurs who are just starting out. So definitely I would encourage people to look into their powers as directors. I would also say look into your requirements for tax with SARS, because a lot of entrepreneurs end up getting into trouble because it's just something that you think of last when you're opening your business account, because you're busy thinking, well, this has come in this month, but we have nothing next month, or suddenly things explode and it gets busy. Often that's neglected and you end up with a huge account from or tax assessment from SARS at the end of the day. So I would just encourage people to really look into the nuts and bolts of their business. Check out your supplier contracts. Check that they're not onerous on you. It would be important to consult an attorney because often we're so enthusiastic to sign a document or enter into a new relationship with an employer or an employee or a supplier that we can sometimes sign things that is detrimental to ourselves. So it's just about general base legal education about your rights and how you can actually enforce them. That's important and lacking in the space.
Yeah, no, that's very insightful. I think, the legal space always feels very like mystified, and you kind of need to have your black coat on to like really like own it. But to know that there are spaces for resources, I'm really excited to see the resource and content that will come, just out of you. You and your consulting hat on, because I do think there's such a massive gap that we can that can be addressed. Even just knowing that you actually have more power than you probably think you have, and you don't always have to be the small one entering into the contract and kind of just having to bow to everything that's in the contract. But if you actually get someone who knows what they're talking about, to look after this side of what you're doing, the small fee that you have to pay up front, which you seem to be breaking some boundaries in that, in that space. The small fee that you're paying for that could save you so much, not only like financial resources, but just save you so many other resources in the long term. And so I'm really excited to see, just something more come out of that space.
Thank you.
In terms of the legal education.
I do have an example for you.
Give it to us.
One of my friends, she is a very close friend of mine. We've been friends since we were 6 years old.
Oh, sweet.
And she's recently started a consulting business where she does lactation consulting. She's a medically trained doctor.
Did you say lactation?
Lactation consulting. Cool. She's a doctor. She's recently had a baby, and so she's taken a step back from the medical side of things, just to spend time with him. And she actually contacted me last week because she's decided to start this consultancy business, and she's partnered with a hospital to provide services to them.
Yeah.
And she sent me the contract to review, and they have such a restrictive restraint of trade section in that contract where she wouldn't actually be able to work for 2 years within, I think, a 20-kilometer radius of that hospital. Even though it's our own company, that's just one of their standard terms. So it's so important to read through every single aspect of your contract. And you'll find, as you said, you do actually have more power than you think. Because as soon as we pointed that out to them, they said, oh, it's fine. You redraft it with what you're comfortable with. And we can go from there. But I mean, if she had actually signed the contract as is, she would not have been able to practice anywhere else in that 20-kilometer radius for 2 years after she leaves that specific hospital. So definitely it's just important to consider everything before you, know your power, consult someone who can assist you, and then go from there.
Wow, that's a great example. Definitely put a little bit of fear in me to have someone just read over what the contract is entirely saying, because I've that little tick box terms and conditions. That's like, this is way too much to read. It's everybody's probably just ticked it. It can't be that bad.
Exactly.
But no, to really just get someone, delegate that out, someone who can actually save you in the long run, for sure. So kind of wrapping up our conversation, what encouragement could you leave for entrepreneurs, navigating life and business, and even just, entrepreneurs stepping into the consulting space?
Of course. It's difficult. It's challenging. Every entrepreneur will know this. You have good days, bad days, tough days, and it's a lot of hard work, but I think it's definitely been worth it for me. I've learned a lot about myself as an individual.
What have you learned?
Oh, I've learned that I'm far more resilient than I thought, because it's difficult. I mean, you'll know, Tam, it's a lot of hard work. You need to balance so many different things. You need to not lose yourself in the middle of everything that's going on. And I think just keep going. Keep putting your feelers out. You can't underestimate how important it is to network with people, to connect with other individuals that are doing similar things and completely different things. You never know where your next client will come from.
For sure.
So everyone that you service, just give it your absolute best. Evaluate what you do actually have the space and capacity to do, and give it your all. Try your best. 110% all the way.
For sure. No, I love what you're saying. You never know where your next client could be. It's like whichever restaurant I'm in. I never know where my next client's coming from, or I never know when I'm gonna run into someone. So yes, the importance of a network. And just a little bit of a shameless plug is that we do at Jumpstart run these networking events that happen throughout the year. It's an awesome space to connect with people you have no business connecting with. And so stay tuned for our next networking event. Andrea often frequents there, so you can also connect with her over there. But thanks, Andrea. Thanks so much for your insight in this conversation. I think it's been very, very valuable. To our listeners, tell us where we can connect with you, where we can find you.
Sure. So you can contact me via email, andrea@legalonline.co.za. You can also contact me on LinkedIn. You can just search my name, Andrea, Engle.
Andrea is a LinkedIn gal, guys.
I'm a LinkedIn gal. I'm just trying to be as cool as
LinkedIn.
And those are the two platforms you can reach me at. You can also connect with me on Instagram. That's probably not professional, but it's fine. My name, Andrea.Engle, Engle. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. And I'm so excited for Jumpstart. Come to their networking, guys. It's so good.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, Andrea. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.